Help the people that are really got the most need of help. And if we don't intervene, they're going to cost our society a ton of money.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Missions That Made Them. I am your host, Jason Verdelli. This isn't just a podcast, but rather it's a movement. It's a movement designed to make the world a better place by bringing more awareness to the great work of the people and organizations making a difference, and more importantly, how you can help. We live in a world today surrounded by a narrative in the media that focuses in on negativity and draws attention to the problems, but not the solutions. Our guest represents solutions, not the problems. And with that, I am super excited today to have on our guest, Chris Haskins with Jail to Jobs. And what these guys are doing is absolutely incredible. They are providing a holistic strategy to helping youth that have trouble with recidivism and all of that to get back on their feet and to be productive members of society, all of that stuff. But Chris is going to say this way better than I am. I just had a chance to check out their website. Their website's amazing, very robust. Before we get started, as you're listening to this, be sure to pull up jail2jobs.com. So pull up jail2jobs.com. So as Chris continues here, you can follow along and get some additional info. So Chris, welcome to The Missions That Made Them.
Thank you, Jason. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So tell everybody what Jail to Jobs is all about.
Sure, yeah. Jail to Jobs, as you said, is a holistic movement to reach young people in Central Texas who have been incarcerated before. And what we do is we first provide programming inside lockup facilities. So we begin to meet people while they're still locked up. We can provide programs to start helping them now, begin building relationships with them. And then when they get out, we provide a wide variety of services that are based around 4 core needs that we think everybody has, but that also includes people that are re-entering into society. And so that is character development, spiritual development, if that's something that somebody wishes to do, workforce development, and taking care of their physical needs. So we're helping them. We have 5 reentry centers in the greater Austin area. So no matter where they get out, we try to help them. But the unique thing that gets a lot of publicity is our workforce development, because what we actually do is we employ them. So they come directly to us, and maybe young people oftentimes lack employment skills, opportunities. So we have several small businesses under a nonprofit umbrella that we're able to hire 150 to 200 people a year, and they begin earning their own income. But we use that as an opportunity for a great amount of influence with the youth.
So you're hiring these youth, right? And you're now. So you're helping. Excuse me. You're helping place them into jobs. Is that right? Like with whatever that fits their. It fits whatever they're looking to do?
Correct, yeah. So
gotcha.
If instead of going out and trying to get a job in a certain place that you may not like, you can come work for us. And then we have several different arms that you can join. We have a construction arm. We have a culinary arm. We have a contract that we take care of an animal shelter. So if you care about dogs and cats and that sort of care, we have contracts with manufacturing, with the cities, landscaping. So we have a wide variety of things that you can jump into, try, put on, pick up skills, and begin to prepare yourself for life. And then we're, transitional employment. So people are typically working with us for 3 to 6 months. And then after that, they're ready to move on. So in that short period of time, we're going to connect them with long-term employment. And they're often going to get paid double what they were able to get before. So in a short period of time.
That's awesome. So you're helping them off right out of the gate. It's not like, hey, come here, we're going to help you find something. you're helping them, going through that process of discovery and everything else to figure out what maybe is a better fit. Was it the construction arm, the culinary arm, at least on the job side of things? And it's not just the job side; it's the spiritual side. It's the it's the physical needs side of things, as you mentioned, which is just really awesome.
Because the job is such an important thing, but there are often other things that can even derail you from a job. If your housing is in flux, or you're having transportation problems, or you just don't actually, you're not used to working regularly or having, even a work ethic. And the beauty of what we do is we have a superstar staff of people that have all been formerly incarcerated themselves. So they're as the model to say, hey, I get it. I understand. I know that this is a trap that's out there. I know that maybe some of your boys may be calling you, but you have to avoid that. And so there's an instant bond. And because of that, we really carry a family-like structure.
Yeah. Well, and that relatability is huge. Especially because, if you have somebody else who's helping, who's never had issues and can't relate and all that stuff, it's like, okay, well, you're telling me to do this, but you've never really gone through this yourself. So credibility goes down, everything else. But here, you have that in place, right? And that's, Chris, I am always super curious about the story behind how these things get started. I know you're the founder of Jail to Jobs and everything. So tell us a little bit of a story about how you got this all started.
Yeah. So for me, Jail to Jobs has really been a transition of my own personal life. I was a young person at the age of 17 that was charged with 2 felonies. Came from an environment that, gangs were a part of my life and a lot of criminal activity. And I got out of that and through a series of mentors that helped me and showed me things that I didn't see before, kind of walking into church for the first time and creating a moral code. But what had happened was I got a degree in criminal justice because I thought I wanted to be a cop. But then I got into Christian ministry and became a pastor. So I got a degree in biblical studies and youth ministry. And the interesting part was I spent about 10 years being a youth pastor. And I realized that so many resources that were out there for young people that were sort of doing it the right way, as far as trying to, succeed in life. But I identified when I started meeting with young people in juvenile detention facilities and lockup facilities and realizing there was no one. There was these same opportunities weren't there. And so that was just, that was head scratching to me because we need to have equality in what we're doing and we need to have resources available for everyone. So we started Jail to Jobs in 2009 to close that gap so we can help the people that are really at the most need of help. And if we don't intervene, they're going to cost our society a ton of money.
Yeah, that is incredible. I mean, you took everything I talk about here in the missions that made them, you took the problem and you took it into your own hands and said, how do we come up with a better solution for this? There's got to be a better way. Right. And that's just, I'm sure you've had a lot of sleepless nights and all the stories that go along with starting any kind of organization, I would imagine. But what is do you have any? Is there any like kind of war story or any kind of story that we wouldn't know necessarily by going to the website?
Man, yeah, there's several. Part of
several of them.
What you just hit on. I like to just talk about for a second. There's always enough pain starting with starting a business or a nonprofit or figuring out structure or finance. What is just so difficult that you wouldn't know is just, but it makes a lot of sense. Just the absolute horror stories that people are coming out of or are currently living. And it just tears you up so much so that, we even provide counseling for our staff, just dealing with the stories of what youth are dealing with on a daily basis. So that's the part that's very much unseen. But the great parts are, there's some fantastic transformations about what we do. That's what I love the most about what we do is really the word transformation. We see, we've seen young people come and work for us that start to gain that entrepreneurial spirit that are now business owners of their own and are hiring second chance employers. We have, moms that have given up on being a mom that all of a sudden have, taken back the mentality of abandonment and created families. Our culinary department exclusively only hires young people that are pregnant or are young mothers. And we're able to work with the flexibility of them. So not only are we affecting the moms in the individual, but we're beginning to affect full families in that way.
Yeah. That is so cool. That is so awesome. So Chris, tell everybody about where do you see the organization going from today? I guess where do you see, you've got to this sort of milestone, you've got this off the ground, you've clearly got a lot of great things going. And if you go to the website too, which is for everybody out there, it's jail2jobs.com. You can see the story of Isaac, which is one of the people that you've helped. And he's helped, and man, does that tell a great story. I mean, it's just, it kind of encapsulates everything you just mentioned here, Chris, but, just that entire story and hearing it from everybody, even the employers, which is incredible. So tell everybody about, where do you see the organization going though? What does the future of Jail 2 Jobs look like?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. We're in year 13 now of existence, and we honestly spent about the first 10 years just creating the model, like what would work, and asking the question to young people, what is the next thing that you need for help? And then what's the next thing? And then what would work? So now what we're looking at is continued expansion. We get calls all the time from other cities in Texas, judges, police chiefs, a wide variety of political folks, mayors saying, hey, could you come to our area? Can you come help? Texas is going through explosive growth. And as a part of that, we need to handle problems before they get bigger. So beginning to look to expand out through the major cities of Texas. And then the next big thing that we're working on will be large reform within the state of Texas. Texas currently is one of 3 states that defines an adult in a criminal justice proceeding at 17. The rest of the states defines that at 18. And this is problematic in a wide variety of ways. One, science tells us that our brains are not fully functioning. The federal government has said 18 is the age of adulthood, to vote, to serve in military, to buy a lottery ticket. But we have young people that are committing crimes and then are brought into adult facilities, which is traumatic. And one of the reasons, from the way that I told you in the start, I was brought into this work because I was a minor that was charged with 2 felonies. The beauty of the criminal justice system of juvenile justice is it's meant to be a forgiving system. We want you to if you're going to make a mistake while you're young, we want to deal with that. We want to rehabilitate it, and then you can go on, and then from there you don't have to carry that on your record. It's actually not even into public records. You could Google. If you Googled my name, you're not going to see anything about a former crime, because that's what the juvenile justice system does. Unfortunately, that is transitioning into Texas. So we're working hard to make that change.
That's awesome. Yeah. Didn't realize these things, or I never realized these things were even a thing, right? That's the whole point of the juvenile system. I thought it was just maybe lighter punishments or something of that nature. But they really do try to keep it a clean slate. But that's crazy though. Yeah, 17-year-olds getting into adult prisons, and then I think at the age, what is it, 25? Or something like that. 20. You're supposed to be like 25 or 26 until your brain's like fully developed.
That's exactly
right.
25. Yes.
I feel like my brain's still developing. I'm 39, going on 40 here, and I feel like it's still still on its journey, but so I don't know about 25, but yeah, either way, like, yeah, when you're young like that, it's like, how do you expect these kids, they go through stuff, and how many of us go through stuff and don't get caught and don't have, maybe, it's not like everybody is perfectly law abiding citizens. So, just because they didn't, get caught or did this or that, like, it's, it's still something when you're young, you're curious. Right. So, yeah, you're providing that. What's great about what you guys are doing, though, is providing the holistic way to get out of that scenario, if they do, mess up and everything else, right? So, do you when you mentioned about cost to the society? I mean, is there any kind of figures that I don't know if there's any published figures out there for that, or anything that's like a statistic?
Yeah. I mean, these are well documented statistics. So incarceration alone is, exorbitantly expensive. Anyone in the education world will tell you that, because then they'll start pulling up the incarceration to education rates. So you're looking at, in the state of Texas, about $50,000 per person per year is the cost of incarceration. And so what we are doing is we take the job and we use that to supplement the costs. So one of the things that I do, bragging to my donors, is to say it only costs $2,500 donor dollars per person to do what we do. The rest is subsidized by the cost of the earned income that we're operating under. So when you're out in $2,500 per person to $50,000, it's hugely different.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that's really interesting, from a recidivism standpoint, for those of you that aren't in the criminal justice world, don't worry. It's kind of a weird word we just use in that environment. But recidivism means you've been arrested, and what's the likelihood that you're going to get rearrested again? So when you're talking about young people, if you span out over a 3-year period nationally, there's a 75% chance, if you've been arrested as a young person, you're in the next 3 years, you're going to be arrested again. What we are finding with the people that are working with us and involved in at least 2 programs is that is going to be between 15 to 20%. So
wow. Jeez.
That's change.
Yeah. I'll say. Yeah. That's incredible. That's and what does that mean? Potentially lower tax. If you want to look at this personal level, lower taxes, right? Because this happens at scale. These, that money, it's all in the system, right? So, but guess what? Guess who pays for it? Taxpayers. So, you can either decide to donate and to be a part of that solution, or you can just leave the problem the way it is and then just, complain about your taxes and everything else when that happens.
Yeah, we're going to
right.
way or another, whether it's taxes, whether it's our crime rate, whether, literally the things that we are losing personally through theft, through fraud, through a wide variety of things that could happen to us, and including personal injury, which you can't put a dollar on.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's you can't put dollars to those things, and to do you want to sleep safe, or you want to know, like, go to bed at night knowing that a majority of the society is at least is being helped in the proper way with the holistic approach again, and you can see this on their website too. Physical needs, character development, workforce development, and spiritual development. I mean, we all know that those are very important things. We all have heard stories, people that have had, have went to church and they changed them, right? And then that's not for everybody. It's not to push those types of things, but if they're not exposed to them, it's their choice, and they can, settle in however they want, but it's their choice. But a lot of times, if they're, especially being younger, they might not have been exposed to that based on their environment. So that's just awesome.
But one of the things that people don't understand is, like you said, all of us at some point have probably made a dumb decision that they could have gotten arrested for. That's really not part of the large problem that we're dealing with. Those are very easy to handle, and most people can self-correct. The problem is habitual criminals are really there's a systematic problem. It's very easy to point at the statistics of why are they this type of thing. It's fatherlessness. It is traumatic events happening through formative years. It is lack of education. It is very simple things that are working. That can, if they work in society, they work great. But if you remove any one of those, you start having a trickle down problem. And so, as a whole, what we're doing is we're trying to rebuild these things. We're helping to rebuild structure and family and friends. We're looking to rebuild sort of an educational path and a vision for you. We have counselors on staff that are working with people going through past trauma events, and where they can look at that, reflect, and heal. So that's the hidden work behind what we're doing, so that you're no longer thinking in the same ways to go, hey, I'm going to go do this crime because I'm going to this. You're like, no, I have healthier thinking now.
Yeah, you're getting to the core, the nucleus of the cell and all that, which is affecting everything else, right? If you can get to the nucleus, you get to this core problem, right? Instead of treating the symptoms, you're treating the problem, which is ultimately that's the part of the solution, right? That's how we solve anything, really.
That is.
So, man, check these guys out. Jailtojobs.com. Chris, how does somebody sitting out here? One of the biggest things that I always encourage is, and really the point of the podcast here is to enlighten and inspire people to take action and be a part of that solution. How does somebody support Jail to Jobs?
Sure. Yeah. There's a wide variety of ways. The one we always have to talk about from a nonprofit standpoint is financially. And the fun part for me is we have a group of heroes. We're about 60% funded through individuals that make a small monthly donation. So a little bit really can go a long way. But there's plenty of ways that you can get involved directly with Jail to Jobs or the cause of changing criminal justice reform or second chance employment. A super easy one is give us a follow on social media. We have Facebook and Instagram. We are on LinkedIn. You can check us at Twitter. We pretty much got them all. It's a really fun follow, which is cool because we really highlight personal change stories. So, in a world that is filled with negativity, we tried to, bring positive in that light, which will also give you ideas that maybe if you're not in our area, but you're interested in this, how can we help? If we can do anything to help teach other people, we want to do that. But you can also join, hey, if you're a person of prayer and that's your thing, hey, pray for us because, man, we need it. But you can also look at, some of the causes that we're getting behind and help, support that. If you're in Texas and more locally, we have opportunities for you to order meals directly through us. You can support us in that way. Attend a wide variety of events. Buy some of our swag on our website. We have hats, sweatshirts, and various things like that. But second chance employment, criminal justice reform, we are in the spotlight of the country, since the pandemic, since the George Floyd incident, and everyone's agreeing we need to make some changes. We need to fix what we have. And so, and that's across both sides of the aisle. And I'm specifically talking about criminal justice reform. Judges across the board agree that things need to change. We need to progress. We need to get better. This 75% failure rate isn't working. The police officers don't like that. So, there's an opportunity for everyone to go, wow, we can make some steps in the right way.
Yeah. That's so awesome. You know what I love about if you go to the donate page of your website, I love what you've done with the association of dollars donated to the what it means to the organization. So as an example here, $25 will give 5 lunches for youth. I mean, that's $25. That's 5 lunches. Like, you can't even get a lunch, I feel like, these days for $25, with tipping and everything else. But $60, 3 pairs of work boots, $100 orientation and pre-employment preparation, $500 one anger management class. That's awesome how you guys are doing that. So you can see how your money is actually it can be used and is used, really, which is awesome. Yeah. So
you want to know, and I always just want to know what am I doing? What can I do? And oftentimes we connect our dollars with our experiences, and so I hear funny stories sometimes, but it's impacting. Like, hey, I do want to make that jump to supply shoes because I remember growing up in a certain situation, I didn't have the right shoes, and what that made.
Right. Yeah. And what a better feeling to give to somebody else, to give to an organization like this where your dollars are being used wisely. You can very clearly understand the benefit it is back to society. So it's not, it's really full circle. Everything you're doing here, it's hey, if you have a job, like you said, you have monthly donors and stuff like that, hey, treat it like a tax. One of the best ways, if you want to give back to get back and be a part of the solution, is to treat it like a tax. We have no problem when the federal government and the state governments take our tax dollars. Well, actually, we complain about it, but there's nothing really they can do about it, right? So it's like, we look at those things. But if you take your tax dollars, you take a few bucks here or there, which is tax deductible, in your case, then hey, what a better way to do that? What a better feeling you get to knowing that you're supporting this organization, and ultimately that's when we buy things, when we buy goods, we buy whatever it is, we want to get some sort of feeling out of it. That's what we want, right, as human beings. So if you can look at this too as a way to as a solution to make not only our society safer, but also to give yourself the feeling, you're supporting an organization that's actually contributing back to lowering the cost of lowering recidivism rates, but also lowering the potentially lowering our tax dollars. No promises here, but like the solutions like yours here, Chris, are making not only social impacts but also economical impacts. That I think if everybody understood that and everybody gets involved in doing this, they can really make an impact in helping. So, just awesome. Any last words here, Chris, before we hop off? Anything you wanted to add?
Well, again, I just want to bring awareness to what's happening with criminal justice, what's happening here. Most people don't realize that the United States incarcerates more people than any other country in the United States, and it's not even close. It's more than double. So we know that we're doing that. We also know that when we send people to jail, they're not just automatically coming out fixed, and we know that it's broken. Right. In Texas specifically, United States incarcerates the most, and we are the leader of states of incarcerating the most in the United States. So, we just got better.
Yeah, that's Texas. I think Texas, right? I think you're saying Texas in the United States. Yeah, which we all know. Yeah, Texas is known for that, right? Known for having those issues. So it's but it's really, really good knowing, and it helps me sleep better at night knowing there's organizations like yours which are truly making a difference in that. Because sometimes we take that for granted. We go by our day, we assume somebody's taking care of that problem, but in a lot of cases they're not. But knowing, that's what I love about this podcast is I get to interview people just like you that are that have not only they recognize the problem, but they've also created an organization and a mission that is a real true solution and a good solution, not just a solution, but a good solution to that problem.
And thank you for being a voice, because there are so many good causes that are out there that are helping in so many ways, both visibly, but most often, not seen. It's not. Yeah. By you, and there are great work and blood, sweat, and tears poured out by people. So thanks for bringing awareness to that.
Thank you. That's the whole mission. That's the missions of the missions that made them. Right there and that's everything that we stand for. That's why I got into this, is because I've recognized and seen a gap in that, in the awareness side, right? There's all these great stories, but they're sort of under the iceberg, or they're hidden, right? And sometimes these organizations don't always, really, that's not their focus is just to go out and promote themselves and spend dollars doing that. You're spending your day and dollars fixing the problem. So, that's really the goal here. And one way that you can do that, change this as a listener, as a viewer of this podcast, is to share this video. We need your help in sharing these stories. So the best way to do that is to share this video. Click share if you're on YouTube, wherever you're listening to this. Hit share this out on all your social networks. If you are on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to the Missions That Made Them so you can get notifications when we do new interviews. Be sure to smack the bell, of course, on YouTube, so you do get that little ding, you get that little notification that pops in there, so you're aware of that. And ultimately, what we want to do is make you feel better. We want to make you feel better, but give you the plan and the action plan. If you want to bring more purpose to your life and be a part of it, then connect yourself to a mission that is greater than what you think yours is, and you will live a much more fulfilled life and everything else. But again, it does start with sharing, right? As Chris had mentioned too, sharing, praying, all these things are great starters. And this is, again, if we all do this, this is going to make the world a better place. So, Chris, thanks again for jumping on. And I respect everything that you and be sure to tell everybody at Jail to Jobs that I said, hey, you guys are doing amazing work and just continue to be a part of that solution. You guys are everything that we stand for here in this podcast. And I just can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much. It was a joy to be on and share with you.
Excellent. Excellent. So for everybody out there, thanks for watching. Stay blessed and have a great rest of your day.